Okay, so in this video we are going to cover the review section, this one, then contact section, this one, and finally the footer section. So let's get started with the review section. So in review section, again we have a card. This quotation is actually an image. Then we have this text, the review by the customer, reviewer's image, name, and the stars. And the transition that is applied over here is when you hover over it, the text color changes and the image size increases. So let's get started. Let's get down. Okay, let's create a section with the class name review as well as ID review. Now over here we have h1 with the class name title. Okay, now the text of this h1 is customers spawn reviews. Then we need a wrapper class, and the contents of this wrapper are going to be review card. So let's give them class name review card. And the contents of this review card are, first of all, we need to bring in the image that represents the quotation sign. So image, this is the image, quotes, which is inside the images folder. Then we have the review of the customer. So let's bring in a paragraph. Lorem, let's make it 20. Next we have to bring in the image of the customer itself. So images, then let's bring in main one. Then the customer's name is h3 John Doe. Now we have to bring in the stars. So let's go up. In fact, let's look for the stars and let's copy this portion. Let's go down and paste it over here. Okay, that's it. Let's have a look in the browser. How does it look without the HTML styles? Okay, so there is this quotation image, then the text, the review, the image of the person, the customer, name, and the stars. Okay, we are good to go. Now let's copy paste these cards 3 times, then we will apply the styling. So this is where review card begins and over here it ends. So let's start from the bottom. Copy, review 2, paste, review 3, paste. Okay, good. Now let's work on styling these cards. So style, let's go down. Review section, styles. Okay, so the section name is review, then there we have a wrapper class, and now the name of the card is review card. Let's give it border, text align center, and padding is going to be 3 rem all around and 2 rem left and right. Let's copy, paste, and let's first of all target the images that we have within each card. So let's give them height and see how it affects our images. Let's give them 4 rem and let's have a look. Okay, what do you think? Maybe the customer's image should be bigger than this one. So let's give this second image a class name, and using that class name we are going to define separate styles for this user. So let's go to our HTML and this is the image. Let's give it a class name. Since these are customers, so the class name is custom. Okay, now let's go back to styles. copy, paste, and over here let's use the customer class, and height make it 7 rem, and in order to make it a proper square, let's give it width as well. So width is 7 rem as well. Then object fit, let's give it cover, so that means whole image is being displayed in that area. Okay, now to make it into a circle shape, let's give it border radius 50%. Okay, I was looking at this image, whereas this image has been turned into a circle. That's because only one card has a class name customer. So let's assign this class name to both of these cards. And that reminds me, we have to change the images as well. So this is the last image. Let's go up over here. Let's give it a class name. Customer, and while we are at it, let's change the image as well. Let's change the image and make it Jane-Doe. Let's go up and do we have woman 2, and let's make it Sarah Doe and give it a class name. Okay, good. Let's define the hover effect for this image. So let's copy this, paste. Now when we hover over the card, we want this image of the customer to transform and scale little bit more. So scale 1.1. Okay. Now let's work on this paragraph. Okay, so copy this part up till card review, paste, paragraph. Let's give it font size 1.6 rem. Line height, let's make it 2 rem. Color is, have we used gray? No. Okay, color is gray. And padding all around. Top bottom 2 rem, left and right 0. Okay, that's good. Do you think we should increase the line height? Let's make it 2.2 rem. That's better. Okay, now we have to define the hover effect for this text as well. So let's copy this, paste. But when we hover over the card itself, then the color of the text should change to black. Okay, good. Now let's move on to the title, the username. So let's go down, let's copy this part up till card review, paste. Now we have this H3. Heading all around, not all around, the top and bottom 1 rem and left and right 0 rem. Font size is 2 rem. Color is white. Then let's define text shadow, for which we have created a variable box shadow. Let's have a look. Oh, not box shadow. We are interested in, what was the name that we gave? Was it have we not defined the text shadow variable? So text shadow, Okay, so we haven't defined this, so what we are going to do instead is we are going to copy it. We should have created a variable. Paste. Let's have a look. Okay, good. Now let's move on to these stars. So let's copy up to this point, paste, and stars. Target the I elements within those stars. So font size 1.5 frame. Color is main color. Maybe we need some padding as well. Padding all around, let's make it 0.8 frame and 0 left and right. So top and bottom 0.8 frame. Okay, that's better. Okay, good. So we are done with the customers reviews as well. Now let's move on to the contact section. So let's have a look in the demo project. So this is how contact section looks, and this is what we have to recreate. So basically this section contains two parts besides this title. The first part is this Google map, and the second one is this form. So now let's work on it. Let's go to our HTML file. Contact section begins. Section dot contact hash contact. Then we need a h1 with the class name title. So first of all, let's create a spawn within that title, or h1, with the text contact, and outside this spawn let's put us, contact us. Now let's create a div with the class name contents, and over here the first child is going to be this image, the Google map. So let's go to Google map first, and let's search Victoria Station. Okay, so now this is the Victoria Station, and since we need to embed this image within our website, so let's click on this share button and then click on this embed a map, and over here this is saying copy HTML. So basically what this does is that it's going to create a whole iframe copied, and when we insert this iframe into our web page, then we'll be able to see that image. So now let's paste it over here. So this is an iframe. We bring in iframe when we want to embed external contents in our website or on our web page. So this is an iframe, and this is the HTTP. Let's go where it ends. Okay, so this up to this point, this is the URL. Now this has height and width defined, so we are basically going to remove this height and width, because we will define our own height and width in the CSS files. Okay, let's remove this border as well, and let's remove this, what was that property? It was something, okay, allow something, I don't know. Loading lazy, we are gonna keep it, because this means only start loading this map when this particular section of the web page gets in the viewport, means when it gets visible. The referral policy, so basically when we click on anywhere on our map, then the request is sent to the Google Maps, and that HTTP request will contain what kind of information regarding the referrer that is us to be sent. So let's not get further into it, and let's keep whatever is the default referrer policy. Okay, this is it. Now let's have a look at the browser. Okay, so this is our project, and this is how the image has been brought in, because we have removed the width and height. Okay, now let's move on to the other part, which was the form that the customer needs to fill in. So let's create a form, and let's keep this action empty. And let's have a look in the demo project what our form contains. Okay, again it has a title, then an input field for name, second one for email, and third for the phone number, and then this button, submit button. So let's just create this. Okay, now within this form, first of all let's create a h3 with the text get in touch. Now let's create a div with the class name input box. Now if you notice, all of these input box contain this font awesome icons as well. So this is a user icon, this is the I think email or mail icon, so this is email icon, and this is the phone number icon. So we have to bring in these. Okay, so let's create a span with the class name it's a font awesome icon, so fa user. The contents of span itself are empty. Now input element of type text, let's give it name even though we don't need it, and let's change this id to placeholder and make it name. Okay, now let's copy this input box 2 more times. Okay, the second one has FAS-FA envelope. Sorry, envelope. The correct pronunciation is envelope. Okay, and name and placeholder is going to be email, and the third one has the icon phone. Okay, then we have an anchor tag with the class name btn for the submit button. So anchor tag with the class name btn, text is contact now. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is our project we are working on. Okay, so we have this map and this contact form. Now let's start defining styles for these. So style, now let's go down. Okay, we were already down. Okay, contact us section begins. Okay, so the section name is contact, and there we have a class named contents. Okay, so for this let's define display flex. Background color is black. Flex wrap for the smaller screens. Okay, then the gap is going to be 1 rem. Okay, so this is how it looks at the moment. Then let's target the iframe. So copy, paste, iframe. Let's give this content section some height. So height is going to be 50 rem. Okay. Now for the iframe, since this is the first child of this flex box, so let's give it height 100%. That is of its parent, which is 50 rem. Okay. Now flex, let's define these three properties: shrink, growth, and basis. So 45 frame. So this is the starting or initial area occupied by this iframe. Object fit is cover. Okay, not bad. Now let's copy this block, paste, and change this iframe to the form that we have. So again, height is going to be 100%. That means 100% of the parent flex is 1145 rem. Since this is not an image, so delete this object fit. Text align is center, and let's give it padding as well. So padding 5 rem all around and 2 rem left and right. Okay, that's better. Now let's work on the contents of this form. Okay, so copy, test, and there we have first of all a h3. Text transform uppercase, color is white, font size is 3.5 frame. Let's give it some padding as well, padding or margin. So let's give it padding. Let's make it padding top and bottom 1 rem, left and right 0 rem. Okay, good. Now let's move on to defining the styles for the input box. So copy, paste, and there we have a div with the class name input hyphen box. Display is flex. Align items center. Margin bottom is 2 rem. Because this h3 has a padding, so let's increase this padding 1.5 so that there is some space between this h3 and these input boxes. And each of these input box has a margin bottom, so each input box has some space between them and the next element. Now let's give it a border. Okay, now copy paste it, and there within each input box we have a span, so let's target that span. Color is white, font size is 2 rem, and padding to the left is going to be 2 rem as well. Now let's copy paste this block, and now let's target the input element within each of these input boxes. Background color is, let's give it black color. Okay. Text transform is none, because we don't want anything that the user types to be turned into capitalized letters, because that is the default transformation that is being applied to all the elements throughout our web page, and we don't want that to happen over here. So color is white as well, width 100%, padding is going to be all around 2 rem. Okay, maybe we should increase this font size. So font size is 1.8 rem. Okay, we don't have defined any hover styles for this part, so we are done with the contact us section as well. Now let's bring in the IDs for these links. So go to the navigation bar over here. Now for the review, the ID is review, and for the contact us, the ID is contact. Review, contact. Good. Now we have to work on this footer section, this one over here. So let's keep coding. So as you can see, this footer section seems to be divided into 3 parts. The first one contains these links, these social media links, and these are again the same menu icons that we have at the top, and then over here at the bottom are the credits. So let's go and define that. Okay, so this is our index.html. Let's go down. In fact, okay. Footer begins. Now this footer is not a section, it's a HTML element in its own right. So footer with the class name footer, then let's create a div with the class name social media. There we have anchor tags for each of these social media links. So let's create 6 anchor tags. Okay, now first one has a class FAS FA-Facebook F. let's bring them to separate lines. Okay, now copy this and paste it everywhere in all of the anchor tags. So paste. Now let's change them. The first one is Facebook, the second one is Twitter. Okay, now these icons actually have the first class is FAB, not FAS. So let's change them. FAB, the first one is Facebook, the second is FA-Twitter. Then Instagram. Then we have LinkedIn. Then we have Pinterest. And this is extra. Okay. There they are. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. LinkedIn, Pinterest. Where is Pinterest? TE. Okay, there it is. Now let's move on to these anchor tags. So outside this social media div, let's create another div with the class name links, and over here let's simply go up and copy these links. Copy, paste. Okay, now the third div is credits. So created by span coding with NJ, then all rights reserved. Okay, now we are done with the structure. Now let's move on to styling them. Okay, so go to our CSS file, footer, background color is black, text align center. Okay, now footer and social media. Let's give it heading top and bottom 1 rem, left and right 0. Then copy paste this, and now let's target the anchor text within the social media. Height and width 5 rem, because we are going to turn them into a circle. So first of all, turn them into a square, then apply a border radius 50%, line height the same 5 rem, font size 2 rem, color is white, border is border. Margin, even though we are defining all around, but since anchor is a inline element, so it's only going to be applied to the left and right. So 0.3 rem, or shall we increase it to 5 rem? Okay, let's have a look. Okay, good. Now we have to define the hover property. So copy, paste, hover, change the background color to main color. Okay, good. Now let's move on to the anchor tags. So footer, then links, set it display to flex, justify content center, flex ref is ref for the smaller screens, and padding all around, top and bottom 2 rem, left and right 0, gap is 1 rem. Okay, now let's target the anchor tags within this links div. So copy paste anchor, let's delete, heading 0.7 rem top and bottom, 2 rem left and right. The color is white, border is border, font size is 2 rem. Okay, now let's define the hover property for this anchor tag. So copy, paste, hover, background color is main color. Okay, good. Now let's move on to the credit section. So footer, credits, font size is 2 rem, color is white, font weight is lighter, heading all around 1.5 rem. Copy, paste. Now target the span which contains my name. Color is going to be main color. Okay, now we have defined all these contents of our HTML and the basic styling, and in the next and the final video we will be working on making this page responsive. But if you have noticed, we have already been taking care of making them as responsive as possible without using media queries, such as when we use grid template columns and we used autofit and min-max values to define the grid columns, and for the flex we have been using flex wrap and flex bases. So since we have defined customers reviews and context section now, so let's see how responsive it already is. So this seems to be working fine. As we shrunk the size, the last card moved to the next row, but now there seems to be a problem over here. If you notice, the image has occupied all the height, and now the footer section and the contact form has been squashed in together. So we have done something wrong over here. So let's go and fix this aspect. So the mistake that we have made is that this is our context section and this is the content section, or the content div, which is wrapped around its children, and the children are this iframe and this form. And since we have given it a height 50 rems, and for both of its children we are saying occupy 100% of the parent height, so since the iframe is the first child, it occupied all the height of the parent, and now there is nothing left for the second child. So that's why it has moved on to the footer section. Now we didn't have this problem when we are in the bigger screen, because now there is enough width horizontally, so both of them can have same height as the parent, because both of these children are side by side. But when we move on to a smaller screen where there isn't enough space and the second child has moved on to the next row, so there is enough space width wise, but as far as the height is concerned, the whole height has been occupied by the first child. So we have to fix this problem. So in order to fix this problem, what we are going to do is that we are going to comment this out, the height that we have defined for the content section, which is the parent of both of these children. And now for the children, let's define the height to be 50 rem individually. So the height is 50 rem. Okay, now let's have a look. Now if you notice, problem has been solved. So both children are occupying 50 rem of height. And for these navigation links, since we have defined its parent to be display property flex and flex wrap to wrap, that's why these two elements have been moved to the next row. So let's shrink this size even further and see what happens. Now as you can see, more anchor text have been moved to the next row. So even though we haven't used any more media queries so far, but a lot of the contents are already responsive. Now in the next section, we will be working on making the remaining aspects of this web page or website responsive. So in the meantime, happy coding, keep learning, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click on the bell notification, and if possible, comment and share as well so that I know I'm being appreciated. Thank you so much.